Hello, my name is Scott Garrison. You may remember me as Scott the Barber or just as Ron and Carla's son. I've been involved in our community since opening Scott's Barbershop on the southeast corner of 3rd and Main in 1998. Now I'm back in the same building as Garrison Financial. I started investing in my 20s. I invested through the dot-com crash and the Great Recession. I started caring for other people's money in 2018, and I truly enjoy sitting down with my clients, understanding their wants and needs as well as what keeps them up at night. Whether my friends just want me to invest a little of their savings or want me to work with their tax and legal professionals to strive towards optimal efficiency, we can do it all. I believe communication is key to helping my clients reach their goals. For if we are faithful over a few things, we shall be given more. Contact me at scott@soonerwealth.com. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Garrison Financial and Cambridge are not affiliated. This communication is strictly intended for individuals residing in the states of Colorado, Nevada, Oklahoma, and Texas. No offers may be made or accepted from any resident outside the specific states referenced. Cambridge does not offer tax and legal advice.
If you build it, he will.
It's the Skinny on Sports Podcast with Aaron Cowk.
I throw balls far. You want good words? Data language.
Talk real sports with a real man.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
And now here's the be-all, end-all, know-it-all of high school, college, and pro sports. Aaron Skinny Cowk with the Skinny on Sports.
We're talking about practice, man. I'm the MVP.
And a good Garrison Financial Friday, Western Oklahoma. Welcome to the Skinny on Sports, right here on 98.1 FM, the sports animal. It's two things. I lump two things together. Good Friday and Garrison Financial Friday. See what I did there? Uh-oh, Scotty, there we go.
Isn't it always a good Friday when Scott Garrison's in the house?
I would not disagree with that sentiment whatsoever.
So, where were you last Friday?
I actually told Aaron, I was like, man, you got to let me know because I didn't have a meeting until Thursday night. I had a guy call me in Oklahoma City, and he wanted to get together. And then I'm listening to the show on the way up there, and turns out
Jimmy Clark was on.
I have to have somebody in here.
Jimmy Clark.
Even if it's Jimmy, I have to have somebody in here.
I thought of that when I realized that I was going to be gone on Friday, and I thought, man, I need to text Scott and make sure he's there, and then I completely forgot.
This guy.
Well, I didn't
his
forget.
Show,
it was all my
it's his show.
He was off doing other more important things. Receiving awards.
Getting out of Oklahoma City before those fires started. That was the most important thing we did all day without knowing.
I called you, too.
We were like 20 minutes away from being stuck on the turnpike.
I was talking to a friend in Edmond, and the roads were closed. She was going to get her son.
Right.
And every direction she went, they turned her around. She just had to go home.
Yeah, when we got home, Wyatt was at my mom's, and she had the TV on. Of course, it was like a weather event, And I heard him say that the school buses had to turn around and go back to the schools because the roads were closed.
Man, can you imagine being a kid, getting ready to go home, and then they're like, yeah, you're going back to school. I mean, it's like telling a prisoner that's getting early release and then being like, nah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. We stamped parole. We meant not paroled. Oops.
Oh, man.
It is a Garrison Financial Friday. Scott is in the house. What's going on? First off, do you have what are your plans for the Easter weekend?
Plans for the Easter weekend? Well, actually, I haven't told my wife yet.
Uh-oh.
We are hosting Easter dinner.
Sweet. At
my house, yeah. So got to put a ham on the smoker and might have a few other meats to surprise the family with, but Sam had hip surgery like a lot of these kids, which that's coming up next on because I'm doing the research right now.
Okay.
So that'll be one of the upcoming topics. But Sam had hip surgery. He's not really getting around that much yet. So I told my mom, I said, hey, so that he just has to hobble his crutches to the kitchen instead of getting him out of the house, we'll do it at our house. So, and then, I might find time for some golf.
Yeah,
if there's time.
Yeah, there might be, and
it's going to be a little busy. I think that wherever you go this weekend,
I was
just gorgeous.
I did today's weather, which crept into tomorrow's weather, and then I was looking at Sunday's weather. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
So what you got on the plate for today?
What do I have on the plate for today? Which I didn't get to listen yesterday. What probably everybody's talking about. Hey, Oklahoma State, you better start spending some money.
Oh, yeah.
That came out after we got off the air.
Hey, Oklahoma State, you better start spending just over 60%. They spent 60% of what they spent in 2018. What do you know that went down in the last 5 years in costs? I mean, and they said that in the article in the Oklahoman, it said that they've ranked in the top 15 winningest programs in the country for the last 5 years. Well, I got bad news for you. The recruits from 18 are gone.
So that's the interesting question about all of this to me. They're last in the Power 5 recruiting budget. Yet the results on the field do not reflect that sentiment. And it's always, anytime recruiting comes around, you start looking and you go, my gosh, they're around 35 to 60.
What I was going to say. They're usually in the middle of the pack
somewhere
as far
in there.
As recruiting goes.
Bunch of 3- and 2-star guys, yeah.
And then next thing you know, they're the second winningest program over the last decade in the Big 12, just behind Oklahoma. So I guess my question would be,
well, now that's kind of what I was pointing out, though. They spent over $700,000 in 2018,
and now
they spent $460,000. That's not.
Is it a product of
why? Is the question?
Yeah,
that is the question.
I'm going to throw theories out. Is it because of that success that they've had? And a lot of this starts with head coach Mike Gundy because he's kind of stubborn with this stuff.
Really?
Yeah. Is that news? And is it a product of, well, look, we don't need to spend a bunch of money on recruiting because we're still finding guys and we're still winning, but now it's starting to catch up with them, or.
That's my question. Is this something from up top, which I don't believe for a second it is, like not letting him have the money? I don't think that's true.
I think Holder's made it clear.
I don't think that's it.
I don't think that's it at all. So now it's him not either wanting to do the work, or now, that was obviously Mike Holder's opinion from a couple of years back when he said he didn't work hard enough in recruiting. Or is it that Mike Gundy has identified a certain type of guy that he knows he can have success with and doesn't care what the rankings are for the recruiting, because the rankings of what his team is producing are so much higher than what those two things. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? I would have agreed with that, but now with the transfer portal, I mean, he's losing those guys. They are developing those guys. They're doing an unbelievable job of player development. Nobody's ever argued that Oklahoma State doesn't develop their players. They do. But now when they're developing those players, they're going to Ohio State to play corner at Ohio State and
LSU,
jump up draft boards and LSU and things like that. And yeah.
Well, and here's another thing that at least from last season was blatantly obvious from the lack of recruiting success standpoint. That offensive line was so thin.
Yeah. So thin that when injuries started to pile up, it was Katie bar the door back to whoever was back there. And I think, it was an amazing season for them last year, because it's hard to remember with the way the thing finished that they were up 17 right before halftime against TCU, undefeated, like number 6 in the country. That's halfway through the, you know what I'm saying?
That's very true.
But that's when the injuries started, not only to Sanders, but then to the offensive line, and everything just dove off a cliff because there wasn't any depth behind those guys, and that clearly comes from a lack of success in recruiting the high school guys.
That's a very good point. Did you look at the list? Yeah, got it right. I've got it up right now.
Yeah. Tell the listeners what Georgia spent last year.
$4.5 million.
10 times what Oklahoma State spent.
Okay, so I heard the guys talking about this yesterday. I think that is a concern but what's more concerning to if I was an OSU fan, Texas Tech spent twice as much as I did.
Exactly.
Kansas spent $400,000 more than I did. Iowa State, who is next to last but it's a huge margin in the Big 12. They spent over 804, almost 805.
Yeah.
Versus 456.
And all three of those teams are going after the exact same player that
there's a lot of competition there.
Going after.
Yeah, West Virginia, even though geographically it's a little bit different. Texas Tech.
Yeah.
You know, those guys are inching up toward that $1 million mark. I mean, that's the schools that, and I think this makes sense.
Is Cincinnati on there?
No, because it was just the Power 5.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I was wondering.
It was just the Power 5. So, you got Cincinnati, you got UCF, BYU. BYU's private, so they're not going to have to disclose.
Well, besides that, they don't have to recruit. They have 38-year-old offensive linemen.
Yeah, they've got a profile of a guy that they're looking for, I guess. But yeah, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. In a lot of this,
BYU just tells their 30-year-old right tackle that they'll house his wife and 8 kids.
There you go. Both wives, 3 wives.
Okay, you said it. I was on the tip.
Sorry,
to go there,
but multiple houses. You know the one that kind of raised an eyebrow to me, and maybe this just speaks to the amount of talent that's around them. But Ohio State, just in the Big Ten, is 5th.
Wow.
At only $1.29 million.
Wow. So, see, that's the other thing that I want to know. Like, okay, that's the budget in quotation marks. What kind of private money's going into all this stuff?
See, I would like to know what
that's not included in this at all.
What are these line items? What is $2.6 million from Oklahoma? What is that doing?
Yeah.
Where is is it renting plane time? To buzz around here and there. I'm sure it pays for on-campus events, the barbecue, and all that kind of stuff
I bet Toby Keith's plane was loaned out for free once or twice.
Yeah, and does OSU have a great deal with Hideaway and Eskimo Joe's to where they're not actually paying? You know what I'm saying? I mean, we never know exactly what goes into a lot of this. Or do they have somebody that literally does loan them the plane for nothing?
Very well. I mean,
we don't know what this encompasses, but it is. I do know this: it's not a good look. No matter how you try to spin it,
it's not a good look.
It's not a good look.
I mean, okay. Now I'll play devil's advocate here. Could one say it's not a good look for OU when you go 6-7 and you got a recruiting budget like that?
I would be a lot more concerned if I was Texas spending. I mean, at least OU has the skins on the walls from a conference standpoint. But sure, I mean, I think you can go up.
This guy's starting to sound like all of those Texas fans. Oh, you guys are 6-7. I mean, we had a little occurrence before last season.
Understood.
Jared.
I know. I'm going down that hole there, but I'm just saying if another 6-7 year,
they're not going to go 6-7.
My point is spending all that money, and that gets me up in arms in October when they've lost their 3rd or 4th game, and I'm going, you spend all that money on recruiting for this?
See, I go the other way. I say, why aren't you spending more to get better players?
True.
Yeah,
Very true.
If we can't win the Great American Conference or whatever conference it is that
the Great American Big
we can
12
call
conference.
it the Big 12, but
to your point, Scott, I'm looking down through this list and I see one, and I think to myself, man, if this is what they reported, how much did they really spend?
Yeah,
A&M, $2.98 million reported.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's a lot of money.
That class, that 2022 class, cost a lot.
Yeah, to finish in the middle of the pack.
No, there's the one that was to finish yeah, I mean that's the thing. Would you rather have the championship in December and February, or would you rather be Oklahoma State's success most years on the field versus, I mean, those are two really good. That's a really good example. And even Texas can be thrown in here too because they're in the same conference. Would you rather be Texas and A&M spending all this money for these results, or would you rather be OSU spending this money for these results?
Well, obviously, it's pretty obvious.
But how long can that last?
Exactly. And that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. They're trying to – the article, in my opinion, tried to sway it as look at the value that we're getting for what we're spending. That's not what they were spending when they got the players that made them a top 15 winningest program. I dare say in 2018, $750,000 was a pretty good budget for recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a top 25 budget for recruiting, I would imagine.
Dead last.
Instead of dead last. So, yeah, that's where I'm going with it. That's where I'm going.
The problem with all of this is we don't know the answer until later on.
Yep.
We can go back to this 4 years from now and go, we tried to tell you, we tried to warn you, or
I think you're going to see. I think you're gonna see the answer this year. I mean, if Oklahoma State has no depth yet again this year, if Oklahoma State loses 5 games in this conference, that's not red flags, guys. That's sound the alarm.
Change up what you're doing.
Yeah, DEFCON 5. We got a big problem.
Maybe OSU's not spending money on recruiting because they're saving it for a certain buyout.
Oh.
Wild theory.
Where are they going?
I think he's
to
talking
buy out
about
a contract.
Getting rid of Gundy.
Oh.
They're not going to get rid of Gundy unless
he wants to go.
Yeah. I don't know.
I understand. Yeah.
I don't know. It's
now, but that's the thing, though. It's not when you say they are saving money, you mean like the higher ups. They're not the ones that's the problem. I don't think.
No, I don't.
I think
think
it's
so.
the fact that he
Gundy.
is not spending it.
Yeah, everybody knows
So
that
you think
Gundy's
it's there?
in charge
He
of the
just doesn't
program.
want to.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
I think anything he would ask for, as far as this budget goes, he would get.
He would get.
Yes.
And I just don't think he's either not asking for it or is getting it and not using it.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Well, there's more red flags in that scenario too. I mean,
But
if it's there for his disposal, and he's like, I don't need it.
Well,
Mike, you need it. You need to use it.
in his defense, he can point to the results on the field
That's kind of what I was
and
saying,
go,
too.
you know what?
Yeah.
I don't need it. Watch this. And and listen, we all know there's 2 things that Mike Gundy is. One is stubborn, and 2, I think he may be just a wee bit arrogant.
What?
And so but right now, take last year out of it. But right now, he has the upper hand in this discussion.
Yeah.
Because he can go, my way's working, and it has for 20 years now. Better than anybody else here. The question is,
what's his record against Texas for the last?
It's very, very
5
good.
years?
What,
Very
9-3
good.
or
Yeah.
8-4, something
Yeah.
like that? I mean, he has the talking stick, as it were, right now.
That's true.
It just depends on what this new wave of what college football
any
is.
Oklahoma State fans texting in and giving us an opinion on this?
Most of them would agree with us.
Yeah, that's probably why they're not texting.
Some of them are fed up with him, which to me, I get. But I would also caution.
Yeah,
What's next?
Can you?
Last year when people were saying get rid of him, hey guys,
Who are you going to get?
you are Oklahoma State. Well, and they might get somebody that's spectacular. You know what? He won't stay long. If Oklahoma State gets another coach, if they fire Gundy and they get another coach that is just spectacular out of this world, he will not stay long.
In this current climate, I agree because the conference has been diminished to the point that it is.
In what climate would you not agree?
I think if you're in the Big 12 with OU and Texas and winning it, you're able to stay put more.
Oh, come on.
Now.
You're not believing that. You're a guy with if a guy came into Oklahoma State with 0 ties to the school.
Well,
and starts winning when Michigan or Ohio State or even Miami comes calling, they're gone.
the assistants have been.
They're gone.
You can't say they haven't. The assistants have been. And that's been probably another problem, honestly.
And they've had great success when they've gone, too.
That's right. All right, what's going on right here, button up against tax day? What are we, 2 weeks
Yeah,
away.
we're getting close, but it's not too late. We can do a lot of things. We can make a lot of contributions to qualified plans to save you some money on taxes. We can, and we do have a little time. I mean, if you're like some people, i.e. me, whose tax day is never until October. I'm the guy that when Skinny was doing taxes, he was just like, oh, God, when's Scott going to find somebody else?
No, you're one of the better ones because it was like, okay, what is today? It's March 19th. Okay, who can we for sure file extensions on? Scott, the ones that you're not sure, the ones that you're not totally for sure are the ones that it's like, oh gosh, are they coming? Are they not?
I gotcha.
Should we wait? Should we not?
I got
All
you.
right.
So
it's time to start making some plans.
Yeah.
Time to start making some plans and get some things in places because your options are limited after the 15th of April. They are limited greatly.
Does that actually extend to what, the 18th, that Tuesday when the filing day really
Yes.
is? And so
Yes.
any of that it coincides with the filing day, which I think is the 18th this year, because 15th falls on a Saturday, and then there's always that national holiday on Monday afterwards, and then bam, there we
But
go.
let's not forget that I'm not the one approving the account to be open either. So don't come in on the 15th and think that it's going to get done.
Right.
Yeah.
Come now. That's
Yeah.
what we're trying to
so,
tell you.
hey, before I head out, who's your give me your top pick and your dark horse.
Okay, so before the tournament, I had Justin Thomas, number 1, Spieth, number 2, Rory, number 3, and Jason Day as my dark horse. By the way, if you look at the a little update on the leaderboard, Brooks Koepka has made a birdie early. He is lone first at 8 under. Jason Day, 2 under today, 7 under total. So he's tied for second right now, so that's looking pretty good. After watching yesterday, I think there's one guy that looks ready to absolutely dominate. Jon Rahm.
He looks incredible.
I mean,
He looks incredible.
he literally spotted everybody 2 shots by jacking around and 4-putting the first hole, and then he goes. And kudos to him, because I think there was a point in his life and his career where that would have cratered him.
He would have folded.
He would have cratered him. Instead, he birdies 2, birdies 3, plays the last 17 and 9 under par.
Yeah.
Man, the one thing that can get him, though, is it looks like he got the bad end of the draw. These guys that played yesterday afternoon and this morning that are already out there, that weather stuff isn't
It's gonna
going
be
to
bad.
affect them.
Yeah.
Because they're going to have 2 rounds in phenomenal conditions. So, a Koepka, Jason Day, Hovland and Rahm will tee off later today. Can some of these guys on the course now sort of separate themselves once
what's
the weather
funny?
changes?
You know what's funny to me? Because I talked to Sean Cowan and Corey Smith yesterday.
Yeah.
Great golfers, Not one of us picked that guy right there at the top of your list, Jared. Not one guy picked Scotty Scheffler. And it's got to just be because, he's going for 2 in a row.
That's why I didn't pick him. That's exactly why.
But
It's only happened 3
he's
times in the
hitting
history of
ball,
the tournament.
He's hitting the ball fantastic. He's hanging in there.
You
better watch out.
I don't know if you listened. I went with them not just because I want to see history, but because of how he's played leading up to this.
Yeah.
There
He's
was
been
2
going really well.
There were 2 guys yesterday. If you look at the strokes gained, like for the day, there were 2 guys that dominated. And it was Rahm, who was like 8.1, which is an unheard of number. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And it was Scheffler hitting it, but Scheffler lost over 2 shots on the greens.
He wasn't scoring.
And already today he's made a bogey coming out on the first hole. But it had to do completely with the back-to-back thing for me.
Yeah.
Because it just Tiger, Jack, and Nick Faldo. That's the only guys that have ever done it.
Yeah.
And it hasn't, so. But
Yep.
would it shock anybody if Scotty Scheffler wins?
I can't imagine.
No.
I can't imagine.
Is there somebody that you want to win?
That I
Like
want to win.
if I could say, okay, Scott, you picked the winner. By the way, Koepka just eagled 8, so now he's got a
Good
3-shot lead at
Lord.
10 under.
Well, if there's somebody I didn't want to win,
Him.
his little, like we talked about before, maybe his little bikini model wife will be happy.
Did you see her rolling a putt, the par 3 the other day?
I did not.
She made about a 15-footer.
What was she wearing?
She had the jumpsuit on, but there wasn't much underneath. I bet you anything.
I wasn't watching the putt.
Everybody was hoping she'd jump in the water in that white jumpsuit, if you know what I mean.
No, man. Hey, and if you'd asked me when his career began, I would have said no way. I'm cheering for Rory. He has made me a fan. The way that he has handled himself in the last 5 years of golf, he's just a class act, you know? And I don't know why I didn't really care for him when he got started, but I didn't really care for him when he got started. But I'm pretty impressed with him. I'm as impressed with him as I am with Jared wearing Pittsburgh Steelers shoes in the studio.
If that's what you want to call him.
He has really taken on the ambassador of the PGA role, the leader of. He sees that Tiger's not out there, right? It can't be him right now, and it can't be him ever again, really. Mm-hmm. And so that void is open, and he has taken it upon himself to kind of fill that void and be that guy. And that I think that's endeared him to a lot of people that don't necessarily enjoy the live part of what's going on.
Yeah, and we'll see, because usually when it comes down to Sunday at the Masters, Rory doesn't.
Unless he's way off the lead, then he fires like last year.
That's true.
He went in like 8 behind and he shot 8 under.
Yeah,
and you're like, where was that?
Where was that day one?
So I'll call it right now. Koepka's going to win. He's going to win.
He looks like a machine, like he did a couple years
ago.
Well,
and when he is playing like that, he doesn't fall apart. It seems like when he starts playing like that, he just keeps rolling. Has he ever folded?
A little bit to Phil.
Yeah.
At the PGA at Kiowa. But I don't know how much that was him folding or just Phil taking it from him.
Yeah.
But the one thing that he can do, and I think we saw it at that tournament, he thinks the crowd is for him. He learned that day the crowd wasn't. And I think it bothered him. I really do think it threw him off just enough for Phil to be able to pass him up.
Well, I think he embraces now that he's the bad guy.
I think he might be
I think
he's
he
the heel.
Embraces that he's the bad guy at golf.
That's exactly it. It never made sense for Hollywood Hogan not to be Hulk Hogan, and you could tell he was uncomfortable being the bad guy. Brooks Koepka is not that way.
No.
He's doing that and meaning it.
Yeah.
I want to hear from the crowd. All right, Scott, man, have a great Easter weekend. Thanks for joining us here this morning. We will step aside. When we come back, the Oklahoma City Thunder, almost there. We'll tell you what needs to happen, what could happen. Leaderboard update at the Masters. We'll talk first-round Masters, look ahead to today and also through the weekend, and ask Jared what he's got going on for Easter weekend as well. It's Skinny on Sports on a Good Friday right here on 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal.
Hello, my name is Scott Garrison. You may remember me as Scott the Barber or just as Ron and Carla's son. I've been involved in our community since opening Scott's Barbershop on the southeast corner of 3rd and Main in 1998. Now I'm back in the same building as Garrison Financial. I started investing in my 20s. I invested through the dot-com crash and the Great Recession. I started caring for other people's money in 2018, and I truly enjoy sitting down with my clients, understanding their wants and needs as well as what keeps them up at night. Whether my friends just want me to invest a little of their savings or want me to work with their tax and legal professionals to strive towards optimal efficiency, we can do it all. I believe communication is key to helping my clients reach their goals. For if we are faithful over a few things, we shall be given more. Contact me at scott@soonerwealth.com. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Garrison Financial and Cambridge are not affiliated. This communication is strictly intended for individuals residing in the states of Colorado, Nevada, Oklahoma, and Texas. No offers may be made or accepted from any resident outside the specific states referenced. Cambridge does not offer tax and legal advice.
The Skinny on Sports.
Yeah! Coming on, yeah!
Welcome back, Skinny on Sports on this Garrison Financial Good Friday right here on 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal. Scott was just in here with us at Garrison Financial, 124 North Main Street here in Elk City. It's right there on the corner of 3rd and Main. His email address, scott@soonerwealth.com if you want to get involved. He does everything, full financial planning. He will shop the open market to bring you the best value on your life insurance and your investments. And as he was talking about, man, tax day is just around the corner, and there's still chances to be able to keep some of your money away from, the man. Keep in your pocket. Keeping in your pocket in your investments, and there's still a chance to do that. It doesn't stop at the first of the year. You have all the way till tax day, but the faster you can take care of that, the better, because it does take some time to process all of that stuff. So go visit him, 124 North Main. Shoot him an email, scott@soonerwealth.com. Jared Atha, how are you today?
I'm good.
Do you have any interest in going out Saturday night? You know what's going on this Saturday?
I think the races have returned.
It is. It's another great race at the awesome Elk City Motorsports Park, USRA Modifieds, Limited Modifieds. 3/8 mile semi-banked dirt track that's built for speed. 1 mile south of Hutches on Merritt Road, then you turn back a quarter west. Concessions available, fun for the whole family. Races start at 7, gates open at 5 this Saturday night. Find out more at Elk City Motorsports Park on Facebook. Don't miss the races this Saturday, April 8th. What do you got planned? Let's get there. We'll get there at the end.
Oh, okay.
Thunder last night. Must-win situation.
Big win.
For the first time in maybe I don't remember them necessarily having a must-win situation in the COVID year outside. I guess Game 7. That's the last must-win when they played the Rockets in the bubble playoff series. The last time there was a must-win playoff or must-win game for the Thunder. But OKC gets the job done. Listen, they didn't play great by any stretch of the imagination. Only shot 40%, but here's the things they did do. They 10 more offensive rebounds and 7 less turnovers meant they got off a whole bunch more shots than what the Jazz were able to get off. They shot 10 more free throws getting to the free throw line, which they've been great at all year long, and they made 10 more threes than Utah in a 114-98 win over the Jazz. So not pretty, not fantastic, but it was a game that they absolutely had to win, and by golly, that young team went on the road and got it done.
Yeah, and you're right. Didn't play great. Utah kept it close for a little bit. It was sometime in the second half where they go like on a 19-2 run. And that kind of told me, was that it's those little things you look for as far as maturing and understanding a situation, and this team understood this was a must-win game. Tough environment at Utah. It's never easy to play there. And to do that in that second half and ultimately pull away with the 114-98 win, that was encouraging, very encouraging. And now, just got to see where the chips lie and take care of business on Sunday.
So here is what is happening. Oklahoma City still, they control their own destiny in all of this. But with last night's win, they can get into the play-in and be the 10 seed one of 3 different ways. Or three different results of games can do it. 1, beat Memphis Sunday. If they beat Memphis Sunday, it does not matter what Dallas does. Oklahoma City is the 10 seed. In the play-in, they're in. The other 2 things that can happen is Dallas lose one of their last 2. They play Chicago and they play San Antonio, both those games in Dallas. So any of those things happening, and the Thunder are the 10 seed. I already got a little conspiracy theory on the text line that the refs the NBA would rather have Luka and Kyrie than the young Thunder.
You're
so watch out.
Talk, yeah. And Dallas plays tonight, right? They
Yes.
play Chicago tonight.
Yeah, and all the pressure's on them now. After last night's win, they know they have to win, which
So if they lose,
it's over.
we can celebrate early.
That's correct.
Okay.
If Dallas loses tonight to Chicago, the Thunder are the 10 seed in the play-in, and here's the deal, that's where they're going to be. They can't get up to 9.
Right.
It's either 10 or bust at this point. So yeah, any of those 3 things happen. Dallas lose one of the last 2. Oklahoma City win on Sunday. Bammo, the Thunder are in the play-in. Do you realize how that works?
The play-in?
Yeah. I've never really paid enough attention to
it. Me neither. Now, how I assume. Now, I'm going to give you my assumption. You tell me how it actually works.
Okay.
7 versus 10.
That's what I would have thought.
One game gets in?
Nope.
No. And then the lower seed will take on the 1 seed?
Nope, that's not it.
How's it work? Tell me how it works.
That's what I would assume, 7, 10, 8, 9. But and this does make sense when I thought about it. So the 7 hosts the 8.
Okay.
because historically both of those teams were playoff teams before they made this tournament.
Right. You went through 1 through 8, yeah.
That's right. So 7 hosts 8. The winner of that is the 7th seed.
Oh, they're playing for the 7th
They're
seed.
playing for the 7th. Yes.
Okay.
So, when you kind of take a step back, and that makes perfect sense, that one of those two, they give those two the first shot at being in the playoffs.
And it's just a one and done. It's not best of 3
No,
or anything
it's
like
one
that.
game. It's
game.
one game. And those, so right now, with the way the standings are, next Tuesday, the 11th, April the 11th, the East and the West, 7 versus 8 will play. So if the season was stopped right now, those games will be Atlanta at Miami in the East, New Orleans at the Lakers in the West. Winners in the playoff. 7th seed playing Memphis. Now, so then the next night on Wednesday, the 12th, next Wednesday, the 10 seed goes to the 9 seed. The loser is out. Okay? Loser, see you bye.
Bye.
So then what happens is whoever loses the 7-8 game, the first game, hosts the winner of the 9-10 game. So let's say the Lakers beat New Orleans and the Lakers are the 7th seed. Then Oklahoma City would go to Minnesota the next night. The winner of that game would play New Orleans at New Orleans for the 8th seed.
Huh.
So the 9 and 10 have to win 2 games, and they have to win. Well, the 10 seed has to win 2 games on the road.
So if that's the importance of getting 7-8, because you can suffer a loss and
That's
still
exactly right,
That's
and
interesting.
host. So theoretically,
very interesting.
So the Lakers, as the 7th seed, it gives you a mulligan for the 7-8, and the Lakers would host both of those games if they had to play them both. If they lose to New Orleans is in the playoff, but then they would host whoever wins, and that would be next Friday, a week from today, is when those games will be played. So it
makes sense. It just seems like a lot. As you could just keep it as simple as possible, just play 1 game between the 4 teams, or 2 games between the 4 teams, and give them the seeds. But
it still gives those higher finishes a bigger advantage.
And it does add drama and another opportunity to sell merch.
Oh, how cool!
Tickets.
I mean, think how cool would it be if next Friday night Oklahoma City is at LA with a chance to knock LeBron and Anthony Davis out of the playoffs?
Yeah, you can rile up your conspiracy theories then. But yes, that would be very cool. That would be very cool.
Yeah, if you're a Thunder fan, you're probably hoping to go to New Orleans if you beat Minnesota. That way, some of that stuff would be taken off the table.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, yeah, less travel, lesser of an opponent, you think, but
lesser of a conspiracy,
lesser of
the hand on the scale.
Yeah, Zion still hurt, or
there was an update about Zion that he is not. Here it is. Right. Well, where was it? Dang, I just saw it.
They could be in trouble if he's not.
He's definitely not.
Not playing.
I don't think it looks good for Zion. God, I just saw that.
Well, I like it. I didn't know that's how it worked because honestly didn't pay attention to it because Thunder was never in the discussion when the play-in was created. But now we can pay attention to it. Definitely going to have my eye on the game tonight. Dallas and Chicago. Go Bulls!
Here it is. After further evaluation, it's been determined Zion will continue his rehab and conditioning regimen. Continue to monitor his progression, and updates will be provided as warranted. So, still up in the air on as to the availability of Zion Williamson.
I know we got a lot to talk about, but his career just reminds me of Odin.
Yeah, it's been unfortunate.
Injury, and is it ever going to take off?
Because here's the thing: when he got hurt, the Pelicans were 23-14, 3rd place in the West, just a game behind Denver for 1st.
Wow.
January the 2nd.
Oh wow.
They were right there at the top of the West, and now here they are in the play-in.
That is an incredible drop in what I would say a short amount of time.
Yeah, it's rough.
Wow.
He's played in 20. Here's just to give you an idea of how good he was. He played in 29 games, averaged 26 and 7, and shot 61% from the field. A guy like that comes in pretty handy in your old lineup, being able to put up those numbers. So. But that's how that works. So the Thunder either win on Sunday, or one Dallas loss, and Oklahoma City is in the play-in tournament. So, good stuff from the Thunder. Masters, what'd you think of round one?
Maybe about as expected. You had your great performances. You mentioned Kupka, who's still on a tear right now as we speak. Victor Hovland looked really good. Anxious to see how he looks today. Can he keep that pace going? Because he could be one of the favorites going into the weekend. Then we're about to talk about it, but disappointments. Rory, I think, was a disappointment for me. I don't know if I want to label a disappointment on Tiger because, come on, I mean, his age, his physical attributes aren't as what they were. We could break that down later. And then, for our picks, Tom Kim, sure shot, what was he after day one? Right now,
shot 2 under.
2 under, he's even today. Seeing if he can gain ground because he was one of my dark horse favorites. So there's a lot to unravel after day one, and I guess really pleased for me. The weather was great. Watching early today, the weather looked really good. And, I was constantly refreshing my weather app this morning while I was drinking my coffee thinking, could the golf gods give us another good day, at least through these first 2 rounds? We'll have to wait and see. I'm not sure exactly what time. I think you've been more tuned to like mid-afternoon, late afternoon.
Yeah, they moved up the tee times today 30 minutes.
Yeah,
to try to get everybody,
going.
try to get as many people through round 2 as possible. Looked like the chance of storms was kind of 3-ish, 4-ish there. And I think the hope was that it was going to be one of those things that kind of moved through. And so hope
southern
and
storms
get back.
Yeah.
If it does happen and you have to stop, it won't be so major that the round is over. So if we can start 30 minutes earlier, gives us a chance to get that a couple more holes in for those afternoon guys. If they have to pause, they still will have enough daylight to come back after it blows through to be able to finish round 2. That way everybody starts on equal footing come tomorrow.
Let me see. According to weather.com, the chances of rain, quit jumping around on me, really ramps up at right about 2 p.m. over there in Augusta, 42%, and then an hour later, 86%.
Yeah, 3 o'clock their time was really that target time.
4 p.m., 100%.
Yeah, so if it's an hour worth, then hopefully that was the hope by moving up the times.
But there's nothing less than 50% until 10 p.m.
And the thing about, we know this here, if that storms, well, that doesn't mean that storm's going to happen on your area, right?
Yeah, right.
And so we'll see what happens.
But there's the concern, they got to be safe. Lightning and all
for
that
sure.
stuff, So even though it's not raining on you and it's they say lightning can travel quite a ways. If it's a few miles away, they still could suspend it to lightning. But again, praying to the golf gods that they say, you know what, let's just hold off.
Yeah, because you don't care if it rains overnight. Whatever. It'll change the conditions, but it won't slow.
Let's wait till sundown, and then we'll rain.
The good part of it being storms is they'll move through faster. The bad part of being storms is lightning is always a part of those. Mm-hmm. And so that forces the delays. We'll see what happens, but at least, they're obviously being proactive, trying to make that happen for as many players as possible. But I think what we saw yesterday and what we're going to see today totally flips on its head come tomorrow and into Sunday, and maybe even, unfortunately, Monday, if that's the way it has to happen, because you're going to see the wind switch out of the north, which means par 5s into the wind at 15 and 13, colder. I think the high is like 50-something tomorrow down there, like low 50s. So it's going to be a totally different game.
Why don't you just move it to Elk City Golf and Country Club? We're going to have
be
perfect
beautiful
weather
there
tomorrow.
Yeah, would you love to see? Love to see that. But anyhow, it's and so because of that, I think there's a chance that this leaderboard, it's not going to completely flip over because there's guys that are just playing too well. But I think the possibility exists for some guys that are up there right now not to be up there come Sunday. And a big part of that's going to be the conditions. These guys that played yesterday afternoon and playing this morning, I think are going to have a major advantage by the time this is done. Because if the timelines are right, they're not going to have to put up with any of that weather stuff. It's 10:45 right now. Koepka's playing number 10. He'd be done.
Yeah, he's going to get done.
He's going to be finished by the time. And so, if you're looking at like guys like Hovland and Rahm, Cam Young, they're going to get the bulk of the issues weather-wise this afternoon. And then, man, coming back tomorrow, if you have 9 holes to finish, you leave the golf course and it's 80. You come back in the morning and it's 40. That's a huge disadvantage for those guys. I think it'll reflect on the leaderboard once we get to, especially through the round on Saturday.
Let me ask you this. This is a bold question, maybe a little crazy. Could the winner, think about it, the winner of this thing be decided today?
100%. 100%.
Because of the conditions you've talked about for the next 2 days. Whoever, if Koepka can continue this tear, maybe get a couple more birdies.
If he shoots 3 under again on the back, so he shot 3 under on the front, he's 10 under total, 3 clear of everybody. Jason Day is the only guy at 7 that's out there because he's playing, and of course, as we mentioned, Hovland and Rahm are waiting. They don't tee off till right around noon our time. Mm-hmm. If Koepka can shoot 3 under on the back 9, have a 6-shot lead over Hovland and Rahm, and it'll depend on what Jason Day does also out there. But think of that. And he's sitting in the house, and he's not going to have to deal with any of those issues? Yeah, it could. He could run away and hide. And here's the problem for guys that'll be chasing him. It's Brooks Koepka. It's not some dude that you're expecting to fold, right?
Yeah.
There's certain different guys that matters who's at the top of that board. Brooks Koepka is not one of those guys that you want to be 6 shots behind with 2 rounds to play when he's got the advantage when it comes to what the weather conditions are going to be. No, that's not good news for the field, what he's doing right now. Because as we were talking with Scott, we really haven't seen him spit it up at a major. He's one of those guys that's hard to track down because he doesn't make the mistakes that some other guys might. So absolutely. And I promise you that's what he's sitting there thinking because all these guys know what's supposed to be coming weather-wise. And he's thinking right now through 9 holes, 3-shot lead, playing well again, obviously at 3 under. Man, if I can shoot 3 or 4 under here, post 13 or 14, hello. Maybe maybe shoot a text to Fred Ridley at the club there and say, here's my jacket size, bro, because I'm in great shape to win this. So I think that's a great observation. I think you're right. That could happen.
So really pay attention today. Really watch today.
To him.
Because
almost just to him.
Just to Koepka. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Almost just to him in what's going on.
Now, and let me follow up with this question. Does that put an asterisk on this thing?
No.
Do people say, man, if this was perfect weather, Hovland's winning this thing,
That's
golf. Or so-and-so. Or
That's golf. It happens more than that's just the way it is.
Yeah,
it's too bad. There's been times where guys got the bad end of the draw, and you look up and you're like, and you do think that, golly. I remember one, maybe the first U.S. No, when the first one is the second U.S. Open at Bethpage Black in New York City. Mm-hmm. The one side had the great end of the draw, and then when you looked up, like Tiger was the only one on the bad side of it that was in the top 20, and you thought, God, he played so much better than everybody else. But it did. But the weather part of it didn't allow him to win. That's just the way it goes. There's nothing you can do about it. But it will be interesting to see if anybody else has a chance. We cannot leave this without talking about a couple of guys. How about the amateur Sam Bennett?
Yeah, how about him?
USAM champ, Texas A&M. He's 1 under today, 5 under total, in a tie for 5th, playing alongside the defending champion Scotty Scheffler and also Sam Burns, and just went toe-to-toe with those dudes and played fantastic golf. He did not look – the moment certainly didn't look too big for him. Man, he looked good. That was an awesome performance from Sam Bennett yesterday, and it's starting back with 1 under through 2 here today. So kudos to him. And, of course, we cannot fail to mention 1992 champion, 63-year-old Fred Couples, a 1 under par 71, in great shape to make the cut. Shot 4. He made 4 birdies. Shooting 3 under on the back 9. He bogeyed the last hole, missed a little shorty to keep from shooting 2 under 70. But Fred Couples, 1 under, tied 27th right now. Top 50 in ties make the cut, and right now that would be at +1 because +2 is tied 52nd. Depending on conditions, I think that could fall to +2 pretty easy throughout the day. So somewhere in that range, I think is what you're going to see the cut at. And then, of course, Tiger. I think it's time, even on this golf course, I think it's time to just accept what the reality is. And the reality is it's going to be near impossible for Tiger Woods to compete for 4 days in a major because of the lack of practice time he has, the lack of tournament reps that he gets now. It just ain't going to happen.
Yeah, he's in a darned if you do, darned if you don't situation because he needs those reps, but that can put such a strain on him physically that he, it question, man, can I even go to Augusta and walk this thing for 4 straight days? He's struggling just to do that without those tournaments before this. So, but he loves this course and obviously loves the game. And at some point, I mean, he's always been credited with a guy that always wants to win, and he's going to go out there and compete. And he's even said, I'm not going to do this unless I think I can win. But I wonder if he's thinking in the back of his mind, I'm able to be here. I'm going to be here as long as I'm allowed to be here.
Yeah, and he can be there forever because he's a champion.
Exactly.
I mean, at least at that golf course.
Sure.
The problem for him is it is the golf course that he could possibly compete on more than any, and it's also the hardest one for him to walk because of the undulation.
Right.
I mean, we mentioned how he looked fine coming off the first couple of holes. When he went down on number 4 after the tee shot down to the green, you could see, like, as soon as he got down to the bottom, that's when he just couldn't. It messed him up.
Great concern. Was it on 8 or 9? Or I'm sorry, the back 9. Was it 17 or 18 where he had to put a foot in the bunker to hit that?
It was 18.
That hook shot.
It was 18.
I had concern for him just doing that physically, with how he had to kind of angle his body and how is going to feel after the swing. Yeah,
and you could and his right foot is the one that's messed up, and it was the one in the bunker.
Yeah, and
you could see as soon as he swung, he got off of it and was hopping around just on his left foot to try to protect that thing. It is what it is, and it's just not. It's not going to happen. And if it does, I'll tell you I was wrong.
But I'm.
But it's still cool to see.
Exactly. I'm glad he's there.
Absolutely. And
glad he's there.
And I'm not saying he can't make the cut.
No, that's what I said would be a successful weekend if he can make the cut, and we see him wearing red on Sunday. I'm good with that.
All right, we'll be back to wrap it up here on a Garrison Financial Friday.
Hello, my name is Scott Garrison. You may remember me as Scott the Barber or just as Ron and Carla's son. I've been involved in our community since opening Scott's Barbershop on the southeast corner of 3rd and Main in 1998. Now I'm back in the same building as Garrison Financial. I started investing in my 20s. I invested through the dot-com crash and the Great Recession. I started caring for other people's money in 2018, and I truly enjoy sitting down with my clients, understanding their wants and needs as well as what keeps them up at night. Whether my friends just want me to invest a little of their savings or want me to work with their tax and legal professionals to strive towards optimal efficiency, we can do it all. I believe communication is key to helping my clients reach their goals. For if we are faithful over a few things, we shall be given more. Contact me at scott@soonerwealth.com. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Garrison Financial and Cambridge are not affiliated. This communication is strictly intended for individuals residing in the states of Colorado, Nevada, Oklahoma, and Texas. No offers may be made or accepted from any resident outside the specific states referenced. Cambridge does not offer tax and legal advice.
The Skinny on Sports.
But is having this minor skill worth being so unattractive? That's for the fan to decide. Yay!
Welcome back. Skinny on Sports, 98.1 FM, the sports animal. Got a little text from our resident realtor out on the links already. Tyler, Western Oklahoma Realty, out on the links with old T-Bone, old cousin Trey. Looked like they were on number 4. Right of the fairway, I might add. And if they were on number 6, guess what? They were right of that fairway, too.
Yeah, I saw a lot of foliage in that picture. A lot of trees.
Yeah, a lot of trees.
Yeah.
Hey, that fairway is where they mow it closer, where you want to hit it out of. If you boys didn't know. Appreciate the pick, though. It's awesome. Send it to us on the text line. Glad somebody's enjoying the beautiful morning.
Enjoying this Good Friday.
Good Friday. What's on tap for you over the Easter weekend, Jared?
Not a lot. A lot of family time. I think we're going to go to the Easter egg hunt on Saturday. And
what do you?
Sorry,
like a town-wide Easter egg
over at Canute.
Okay.
Over at Canute, it's a Canute Park. The Lions Club does a great job with it. They give away some prizes, and they said, at least by their flyer, says the prizes are bigger than ever. So we'll go check that out.
By golly, we'll find out.
Let's find out, shall we? Although Katie, my 9-year-old's kind of over it. It's like, do I have to do it? Because you can do 10-year-olds and younger, right? And they separate it by age division and all that stuff. And she's kind of like, whatever, Dad. I'm like, hey, come on. She goes, but Dad, last year my candy had ants on them. I'm not blaming anybody here, but like, well, you have a chance to win the prizes. Look, it says right here in the flyer, bigger than ever. Anyways, we'll do that. Girls have really been bugging me. They want to go see the Mario movie, the Super Mario Brothers movie. And I don't know if we'll have time, but we'll see if we can go do that. Not a lot. And then, hopefully spend a lot. My plan is, I hope, if there's free time, just if the weather does what it's supposed to be, it'd be really nice, sit on my back porch and watch a lot of Masters if they're playing. So how about you?
Yeah, that's what's going to stink when it's perfect weather here and they're not going to be out on the course at Augusta. Because how many times is it terrible here and you look and you're just like, oh, I wish I was there.
Yeah.
Because it's nice in Georgia. But lots of things. Alumni weekend over at Sayre.
Right.
Sayre National, we talked about it Monday. There's all kinds of stuff going on this weekend. A horse race tonight. The alumni tournament tomorrow. The alumni bash Saturday night. $10 for a wristband to be there to listen to the Dean Jackson Band. If you guys have forgotten what we talked about on Monday with Jay Manning, 21 and up. That's one thing about that because there's, it's at the clubhouse. And
I barely make it. I can go though.
There's chances there, but a lot of that, and and then a lot of family time. Church obviously on Sunday, and I've got some hams to cook to take to my sister's house tomorrow. So there's lots and lots of fun stuff going on over there, and so it'll be a good weekend. People coming this evening.
I am inspired by your egg dyeing party that you're having.
So how Kara's doing it this time?
No,
we changed. It seems like every year. Sometimes it's just the dye, like you're used to with the cups.
Sure.
We've done this one before, and we're going to try it again. So what you do is you get whipped cream.
Okay.
And then you put some food coloring in the whipped cream, different colors. You kind of mix that in, and then you put your egg in there, and you kind of roll it around, and that's how you dye the eggs.
That's interesting. Do you have to put gloves on, or are you?
I'm not actually dyeing the eggs, Jared, but I would. If I was a child, I would not want to have gloves on because I would want to be licking the Cool Whip off of the.
Oh, I was just wondering if the color would seep onto your hands.
Probably, but isn't that the point?
Yeah. Yeah, Katie was asking me last night, asking us, when are we going to dye eggs? I don't know. Because we have farm fresh eggs, so they're brown.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to buy some.
It'd be kind of weird.
Yeah, to buy some white eggs.
I saw former Big Elk head coach and current Clinton Red Tornado head coach Lucian Bliss.
Yeah.
I saw him at Walmart yesterday, day before. It was the day before. When we were buying the eggs to dye.
Yeah.
And he was like, whoa, high roller there, because I had the whole box, like of 2.5 dozen.
Yeah.
Or it's more than that. It's 5 dozen, I guess. Anyway, he was like, dang, dude, that radio paying big time walking out of there with the box of eggs. I thought that was pretty funny. You need eggs afterwards, too. But
yeah.
So anyhow.
I might make time for that.
That's pretty good.
See if I can find a way to watch the Dallas Mavericks game and dye some eggs tonight.
Yep, root against the Mavs.
That's right.
Sometimes Easter weekend falls with the Final Four. It didn't happen this time, but sometimes that happens to where you get both of those events.
Yep.
And then when you get both of those, you'll never get both those in the Masters, so it's not possible. Never mind. I'm going to stop right there. All right, everybody have a great weekend. Everybody have a great Easter. Remember why we're celebrating.
Yes.
No doubt. And what had to transpire in order for us to be here and be able to celebrate these things. And afterwards as well, even more importantly.
Absolutely.
Everyone have a wonderful Good Friday, Easter weekend. We'll be back on Monday, live from Sarah National.
That's right.
Maybe even Masters on. Skinny on Sports right here on the Sports Animal.
You've been listening to the Skinny on Sports podcast with Aaron Cow. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to get alerts of when the latest podcast is available. Thanks for listening.
That ball is blistered to right. Way back. Goodbye.
Hello, my name is Scott Garrison. You may remember me as Scott the Barber or just as Ron and Carla's son. I've been involved in our community since opening Scott's Barbershop on the southeast corner of 3rd and Main in 1998. Now I'm back in the same building as Garrison Financial. I started investing in my 20s. I invested through the dot-com crash and the Great Recession. I started caring for other people's money in 2018, and I truly enjoy sitting down with my clients, understanding their wants and needs as well as what keeps them up at night. Whether my friends just want me to invest a little of their savings or want me to work with their tax and legal professionals to strive towards optimal efficiency, we can do it all. I believe communication is key to helping my clients reach their goals. For if we are faithful over a few things, we shall be given more. Contact me at scott@soonerwealth.com. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Garrison Financial and Cambridge are not affiliated. This communication is strictly intended for individuals residing in the states of Colorado, Nevada, Oklahoma, and Texas. No offers may be made or accepted from any resident outside the specific states referenced. Cambridge does not offer tax and legal advice.